Every year, more than 9 billion tons of agricultural products are harvested across the planet. Behind that immense volume lies not only the sweat of millions of farmers, but also the power of machinery and the intelligence of technology, forces that are reshaping global agriculture day by day. These colossal machines now harvest more than just crops, they harvest the future. Every passing second sees tens of tons of grains, fruits, and vegetables gathered with near-perfect precision. In today's video, let's explore how farmers around the world are turning harvest season into a true marvel of human strength and ingenuity, where technology, nature, and human labor come together to feed the entire world. These combined harvesters are specialized for sunflower crops, boasting a capacity of over 10 tons per hour. Engineered to do what humans simply cannot, harvest hundreds of hectares in a single day without losing a single seed. At the front is the sunflower header, a precision steel jaw equipped with narrow intake fingers that gently support each heavy flower head and slice cleanly at the base using a high-speed rotating shaft. The stalks are drawn into the threshing chamber, where a rotating drum and a stream of compressed air separate the seeds from the flower discs through centrifugal force, sending them straight to the sieves and air fans for cleaning. Each glossy black seed is separated, filtered, and collected into the rear grain tank, all within a closed, fast, and impeccably precise cycle. Compared to manual harvesting, these mechanical giants boost productivity by up to 6 times, reduce losses by as much as 40%, and are widely used across Ukraine, Russia, and Argentina, the sunflower kingdoms of the world. More than just machines, they've become symbols of modern agriculture, where mechanical power and automation technology work hand in hand to elevate the global sunflower oil industry to a value of tens of billions of dollars each year. Cantaloupe, the cousin of watermelon, yet richer in aroma and sweetness with its juicy orange flesh, is among the most valuable crops grown under the sun-drenched skies of California and Arizona. From June to September, when the melons take on their signature golden hue, the sweetest harvest season of the year officially begins. To preserve peak ripeness and natural flavor, many farms still rely on traditional hand-picking methods, selecting only the perfectly matured fruits and cutting them gently to avoid bruising the delicate rind. But on farms spanning hundreds of hectares, mobile conveyor harvesters have become the extended arms of human labor. Dozens of workers move along the rows, cutting the melons and placing them on a continuously moving conveyor belt, where color and size sensors instantly sort them right in the field. Thanks to these intelligent mechanical harvesters, farmers can now gather over 25 tons of cantaloupes per day, dramatically shortening harvest time, multiplying productivity, and satisfying the summer craving for sweetness across the US, Canada, and Japan. Say goodbye to the sunlit fields and step down into the cool, damp cellars of Belgium, where people grow vegetables without sunlight. Sounds strange, doesn't it? Yet, in that absolute darkness, pale ivory Endive shoots quietly thrive, crisp and delicately bitter, harvested with meticulous care and precision in every slice. Today, in modern facilities, this delicate task is aided by the rotary disc cutter, an indispensable helper in the final stage of production. A large rotating disc divided into compartments holds each root horizontally in place. As the disc spins, every root passes a razor-sharp blade positioned exactly at the joint between the stem and the bud, slicing cleanly without harming the fragile young leaves above. The entire process runs continuously and precisely, with each rotation handling 4 to 6 roots. Once separated, the endive buds gently drop into a collection chute, then move onto a sorting conveyor, where workers remove any loose or misshapen heads, ensuring that only these masterpieces of darkness are allowed to step into the light. Each year, Belgium harvests over 110,000 tons of endive, accounting for the majority of Europe's production, cementing its status as the world's leading endive producer, where these ivory buds have become a true symbol of Belgian agricultural pride. October, in California's Central Valley, a fruit long seen as a symbol of prosperity, the pomegranate enters its peak harvest season. But unlike its mechanized cousins like oranges or apples, more than 90% of the world's pomegranates are still harvested by hand, because no machine has yet mastered the delicate touch needed to handle their fragile, thin skins. Each worker wields a pair of specialized pruning shears, cutting close to the stem and gently placing the fruit into a basket carried on their back. Twisting or pulling is strictly forbidden. Even the smallest tear can oxidize the glossy red rind, rendering the fruit unfit for export. Once the heavy baskets are filled, they are loaded onto trucks and transported to the processing facility, where each pomegranate is washed, polished, and graded by size before being packed for export. On large-scale farms, harvesting conveyors are now used to gently transfer the fruit from the picker's hands to collection bins, minimizing bruising and increasing efficiency by over 30%. This seamless collaboration between human hands and mechanical arms has helped California's farmers produce more than 250,000 tons of pomegranates each year, making the United States one of the world's leading suppliers of premium quality pomegranates. Around the same time, in the land of the rising sun, the persimmon harvest season bursts into color, painting the hillsides in brilliant shades of orange and red. Depending on the variety and intended use, harvesting methods differ. For crisp persimmons with thicker skins, farmers use long poles to gently shake the branches, letting the fruits fall softly onto mats laid beneath, without a single bruise. But for soft varieties with skins as delicate as silk, where even a touch can leave a mark, pickers must climb ladders, carefully snip each fruit with specialized shears, and place them gently into foam-lined baskets to preserve their flawless appearance. On old trees towering 6 to 7 meters high, the task becomes even more challenging. Each precise cut must be made with absolute care to avoid damaging the fruit. After harvesting, the persimmons are divided into 2 main types: crisp persimmons sold fresh, and astringent ones destined to become hoshigaki, Japan's famous dried persimmons, hung for weeks in the autumn air until the skin wrinkles and the flesh turns honey-sweet. From these fiery orchards of autumn, Japan produces over 200,000 tons of persimmons each year, turning this fragile fruit into a symbol of patience, craftsmanship, and pride in Japanese agriculture. Sorghum harvesting in the United States is a spectacular display of mechanized power, where technology and human skill come together in a grand symphony of modern agriculture. After 3 to 4 months of growth, vast fields of crimson-red sorghum across the central and southern states reach their golden harvest season. Leading the charge are high-tech combine harvesters equipped with GPS and artificial intelligence. They sweep across the fields like steel war chariots, slicing through dense stalks with speed and pinpoint precision. Automatic sensors continuously adjust cutting depth and speed, allowing the machines to adapt seamlessly to changing terrain, gathering every single grain into massive storage tanks without a trace of loss. Once the grain is collected, the remaining stalks, known as stover, are processed right on site. Baling machines crush and compress the stalks into uniform hay bales, which are then transported to farms as high-fiber feed for cattle and sheep during the winter months. Thanks to this fully mechanized and closed-loop system, productivity can exceed 10 tons per hour, reducing labor demands while maximizing efficiency. Sorghum harvesting is more than just a season. It's a powerful testament to the strength, ingenuity, and enduring spirit of modern American agriculture. Chickpeas, the tiny, protein-rich legumes that give life to dishes like hummus and falafel, have also become a symbol of sustainable agriculture in the United States. Across the vast fields stretching from Washington to Montana, harvest season begins when the pods turn pale yellow, signaling the perfect moment to awaken the nutrients drawn from the earth. The giants of the field, combine harvesters, are once again at work, but when it comes to chickpeas, they move with far greater delicacy than when handling tougher crops like grain sorghum. Instead of slicing rapidly at high speed, the machine's cutting blades and threshing drums are precisely calibrated to prevent cracks or splits in the fragile seeds, which are highly sensitive due to their thin shells and high moisture content. Thanks to advanced sensors and automation technology, each machine can harvest dozens of hectares per day, ensuring the chickpeas retain their perfect round shape, pale beige color, and smooth texture, the gold standard for food processing. After harvesting, the chickpeas are cleaned, dried, and either packed for sale or processed into hummus, chickpea flour, or pasta, while substandard seeds are repurposed as nutritious animal feed. Every year, the United States harvests over 650,000 tons of peaches, accounting for about 15% of the world's total production. Yet behind that enormous number isn't the roar of machines, it's the gentle touch of human hands. Even today, most peaches are still harvested entirely by hand, in a process that demands remarkable care and precision in every movement. Timing is everything. Growers must capture the golden moment. When the skin turns a soft blush of pink-orange, the flesh yields slightly to pressure, and the fruit's fragrance fills the air. Pick too early, and the flavor is dull. Too late, and the fruit becomes overly soft and bruises easily. That's why, from the break of dawn, hundreds of workers move through the orchard canopies, gently twisting each peach, cutting close to the stem, and placing it carefully into baskets. Even a single rough motion can scratch the delicate, silk-like skin and ruin its export value. The workforce is made up mostly of local and seasonal migrant laborers, many of whom have carried on this craft for generations. As they harvest, they also sort. Flawless peaches are sent for fresh sale, while bruised or overripe ones go to processing plants to be turned into jam, puree, or juice, ensuring that almost no fruit goes to waste. The American peach harvest is more than just agricultural labor. It's a ritual of patience, finesse, and harmony with nature, where every ripe peach becomes a testament to the meticulous spirit and quiet pride of U.S. farming. Truffle mushrooms, among the rarest on Earth, with an annual yield of only about 200 tons, are symbols of luxury and mystery in the culinary world. Hidden deep underground, they grow only when tree roots, moisture, soil pH, and climate reach perfect harmony, making every gram worth its weight in black gold, fetching thousands of dollars per pound. In the U.S., Oregon is the truffle capital, thanks to its dense hazelnut and Douglas fir forests, while California and Washington are emerging as promising new regions. To uncover these treasures beneath the soil, people rely on truffle hunting pigs and dogs. Female pigs have an incredible sense of smell, but tend to eat their finds, so dogs, especially Lagotto Romagnolo and Labrador Retrievers, have become the preferred partners. When a dog pinpoints the spot, hunters gently dig around to avoid damaging the truffle. Each discovery is a moment of triumph, where humans and nature move in harmony, uncovering the black gems of the earth. In the past, farmers had to carry baskets, bend their backs to lift each melon weighing over 2 kilograms, and haul them across long rows under the blazing sun. A grueling task that drained their strength and often left the fruit scratched before it even reached the truck. Today, they have the help of mobile harvesting conveyors, a smart mechanical arm designed specifically for melons. The belts are made of soft rubber, allowing workers to gently toss the fruit onto them without damaging the rind. One end of the conveyor lies close to the ground to receive the melons, while the other end rises to deliver them directly into the truck bed. 2 conveyors operate side by side, moving slowly between the rows. Around 20 workers coordinate seamlessly along the system, forming an open-air assembly line. Pickers, placers, and loaders working in perfect rhythm. The conveyor doesn't replace human hands, but it reduces over 70% of the heavy lifting, cuts harvest time in half, and ensures every melon remains intact and gleaming under the golden sun of the season. Every year, from June to early August, the peach orchards of California and South Carolina, the 2 largest peach-producing regions in the United States, enter their most vibrant season of the year. When the trees are covered in shades of pink and orange, hundreds of workers spread out across the orchards, carrying soft fabric baskets to pick each fruit by hand. Each peach weighs about 150 to 200 grams and bruises easily, so the entire harvest must be done manually. Pickers gently twist the stem between their thumb and forefinger, checking the fruit's ripeness by its color and fragrance before carefully placing it into the basket. Once harvested, the peaches are taken to cooling stations within less than 4 hours to preserve their crisp texture and signature aroma. In California alone, more than 250,000 tons of fresh peaches are harvested every year, most for domestic consumption, an enduring symbol of the American summer, where the sweet scent of peaches evokes the warmth of long, golden days. The John Deere combine harvesters are considered the backbone of American mechanized agriculture. Powerful, multi-purpose machines capable of harvesting everything from wheat, corn, and soybeans to sorghum, simply by changing the front header attachment. When the sorghum fields of America's Midwest turn a deep crimson red, these giant combines begin to roll. At the front, a 10-meter-wide cutting header glides just above the ground, feeding the entire stalk into the processing chamber, where high-speed rotors and strong airflows separate the grain from the stalk before lifting it into the grain tank above. This front section, known as the header, is built as a modular unit that can be swapped depending on the crop. For corn, the header uses deep row grabbers designed to pull and cut tough stalks. For sorghum or wheat, it's replaced with a draper header, a flat cutting platform with a moving belt that smoothly feeds each stalk into the threshing system with precision. Sorghum may not be a common sight on the dinner table, but it's one of the most resilient and vital crops on Earth. Grown widely across Kansas, Texas, and Oklahoma, it thrives in dry, scorching lands where few other plants can survive. In your kitchen, spring onions are a familiar ingredient. But have you ever wondered how they're harvested across fields that stretch for dozens of hectares? Let's visit Denmark, the birthplace of Asa Lift, the pioneer of Europe's vegetable harvesting technology. At the front, a thin steel blade slices just below the roots, while rubber rollers Gently grip the stalks and lift them from the soil. Next, an angled conveyor belt carries the onions upward, where soft rotating brushes remove dirt before neatly stacking them into crates. In just 5 minutes, a single machine can harvest over 600 meters of onion rows, up to 20 times faster than manual labor, while keeping every stalk straight, clean, and perfectly intact, ready for its journey to your local supermarket. During the bright summer months in Florida and Mexico, mango orchards reach their harvest peak when millions of golden fruits ripen at once, filling the air with their fragrance. Hand-picking remains the preferred and almost indispensable method, since each mango variety ripens differently and has a unique skin texture. Pickers must observe the color, feel the firmness, and check the stem to determine the perfect time to harvest. Low-hanging fruits are picked directly, while those high above are reached using hydraulic lifting baskets, compact in appearance but capable of extending up to 8 to 10 meters high. The platform is controlled by a small panel on the handrail, allowing pickers to raise, lower, or rotate the lift with just a few simple moves. This system boosts productivity up to 5 times compared to ladders, ensures worker safety, and protects branches from damage. After harvesting, mangoes are rinsed under gentle water jets or immersed in circulating wash tanks to remove sap and dust, then dried, sorted, and cold-packed for export. Every year, Mexico, the largest mango exporter in the Americas, supplies over 2 million tons of fresh mangoes to global markets, most of them still picked carefully by hand from orchards like these. The tree shaker is the secret weapon of America's plum orchards. Its steel arm clamps tightly around the trunk, then shakes it powerfully for a few seconds, at a frequency of up to 400 vibrations per second, causing thousands of ripe plums to rain down onto large catching tarps without damaging branches or unripe fruit. In just a few short seconds, a tree is completely harvested. From the tarps, the plums are moved directly onto conveyor belts, passing through cleaning, sorting, and packing stations right in the field. Each shaker can harvest up to 60 tons of plums per day, operating tirelessly under the summer sun. Alongside the trunk-shaking tree shakers, American farmers also use another type of machine designed for low, narrow canopy plum orchards, the canopy shaker. Its 2 symmetrical rotor arms vibrate at a frequency of 6 to 10 Hz, sending oscillations directly through the canopy to shake off ripe fruit without breaking branches. Beneath the trees, a closed system of catching tarps and conveyors collects the falling plums, separates leaves and debris, and transfers the clean fruit straight into storage bins. Leaving behind America and Europe, we arrive in South Korea, where the lowering of pond temperatures below 10 degrees Celsius marks the beginning of the lotus root harvest season. Harvesters wear full-body waterproof suits, thick rubber gloves, and use broad, blunt-tipped knives, tools that allow them to cut and separate rhizomes without cracking their delicate skin. Hidden beneath a thick layer of mud, each lotus stem contains 3 to 6 connected root segments, crisp, starchy, yet so fragile that even a slight touch can cause them to split. Instead of digging with shovels, farmers use high-pressure water jets to loosen the soil and gently release the roots without any mechanical impact. Once freed, the roots float to the surface, where workers gather them into wooden boats, then lift them ashore with small cranes. The process must be quick. Within just 2 to 3 hours of air exposure, the roots begin to oxidize and turn brown. Thanks to this delicate and precise technique, South Korea exports over $100 million USD worth of lotus roots each year, turning a plant born from the mud into a high-value agricultural product on the global market. When aloe vera leaves reach full maturity, about 8 to 12 months old and nearly 80 centimeters long, farmers begin harvesting. Using sharp knives, they cut each leaf close to the base, then tilt the cut end downward to drain the yellow sap containing aloin, a bitter compound that can ruin an entire batch of gel if not removed properly. Harvesting aloe requires speed and precision, as even a small bend or bruise can cause the inner gel to oxidize. Only thick, plump, unbroken leaves are considered suitable, and they are carefully placed into shallow trays or soft-lined crates to protect their delicate outer skin. On large farms, mobile harvesting conveyors run along the rows, collecting hundreds of leaves in just a few minutes, reducing manual labor by up to 70% while keeping the gel inside fresh and intact. Typically, a skilled worker can cut up to 1,000 leaves per day, but ensuring that each leaf remains firm, clean, and free of yellow sap still depends entirely on the harvester's experience. The key to the purity of every drop of aloe gel that follows. The grapefruit harvest begins when the fruit turns a uniform shade of pinkish gold, with taut, slightly textured skin. During peak season in Texas, the homeland of the famous Rio Red variety, skilled pickers gently twist each fruit along the stem, creating just enough torque for it to detach naturally without tearing the peel. But under the dry, scorching sun of the semi-desert region, time is the greatest enemy of quality. Just a few hours delay after full ripeness can cause the skin to dull, essential oils to evaporate, and the flesh to begin drying out. That's why the entire harvest must be fast, continuous, and precise, ensuring that every grapefruit, the moment it leaves the branch, still retains its glossy, aromatic skin and the signature sweet tart flavor that has made Rio Red a beloved name across the United States. In the summer months, when rows of zucchini fields in France reach peak production, hundreds of workers head out for the biggest harvest of the year. Despite advances in mechanization, zucchini are still picked almost entirely by hand, as their thin skin and soft stems make them extremely prone to scratches and bruising. In the fields, pickers move along each row, holding the fruit with one hand and using a small knife to cut the stem cleanly with the other, making quick, precise movements to avoid tearing the glossy green skin. Each worker carries a shallow plastic crate, which, once full, is emptied onto collection trucks, moving slowly alongside the rows. To preserve freshness, harvesting takes place every 2 to 3 days, when the fruits reach about 18 to 20 centimeters in length, the golden stage for flavor and yield. On average, a skilled picker can harvest 400 to 600 kilograms per day, all done in the early morning hours when the air is cool and the fruits are still firm, vibrant, and full of life. Next, let's visit the shaded cocoa plantations of southern Ghana, the birthplace of the chocolate bars you know so well. The harvest season begins with the rhythmic sound of machetes striking through the forest, a sound locals affectionately call go-to, the signal that the golden season has arrived. When the cocoa pods turn deep red or golden yellow, pickers use curved machetes to cut them from the stem and gather them into small piles beneath the trees. There, they split open the pods and remove the ivory-colored beans, wrapped in a sweet mucilaginous pulp. This pulp is what undergoes natural fermentation for 5 to 7 days, during which enzymes break down sugars and acids, releasing hundreds of precursor aroma compounds. Surprisingly, 60 to 70% of chocolate's final flavor is formed at this stage, long before the beans are roasted. Yet, despite the meticulous labor of millions of farmers, cocoa growers earn less than 2% of the final value of the global chocolate industry, while most profits go to processing giants in Europe and North America, where these humble beans are turned into the sweet indulgence that many of their growers have never even tasted. Gliding smoothly between the hazelnut rows, this intelligent harvester unleashes dozens of high-speed rotating brushes, creating powerful air currents that feed into a giant suction hose, swallowing up a carpet of nuts, dry leaves, and loose soil from the ground. Unlike almonds or walnuts that require vigorous shaking from tree shakers, ripe hazelnuts naturally fall in unison during a brief 2 to 3 week autumn window. Yet, that fleeting moment is also their greatest vulnerability. Just one untimely rainstorm can turn a golden harvest into a soggy, moldy disaster. The arrival of this harvesting machine has completely solved the race against time, becoming a true savior for farmers in Turkey, Italy, and the United States, helping them secure millions of tons of hazelnuts each year. Once the entire mixture is drawn into the machine's body, massive fans and rotating drums generate a man-made whirlwind. Dry leaves, dust, and light debris are blown away, while the heavy hazelnuts drop neatly into the storage bin behind. One pass of this machine replaces hundreds of manual workers, turning grueling labor into a compact, spectacular, and powerful display of mechanical precision. Combine harvesters, the towering giants that embody the speed and sheer power of modern agriculture, stand behind tens of millions of tons of barley harvested across Europe each year. Over 4 meters tall and more than 10 meters long, these machines wield razor-sharp blades and massive rotating reels that sweep through the golden fields, slicing through rows of barley in just a few swift passes. Inside, a compact yet relentless processing line comes to life. Powerful threshing drums spin at high speed to separate the grains from the heads. Vibrating sieves shake continuously to remove straw and impurities, while strong fans blow away husks and dust. After this perfectly synchronized motion, only the finest barley grains are conveyed into the storage tank, while the leftover straw is gently spread across the field, completing a flawless cycle in every turn of steel. With these colossal steel reapers, bringing in millions of tons of barley within just a few short weeks becomes effortless. Even when sudden fires break out under dry, scorching weather, they can still race against nature, harvesting, rescuing, and preserving the golden season before the flames can spread. What would happen if the irrigation canals, the lifelines of agriculture, were clogged with mud, waste, and weeds? In the worst-case scenario, an entire season's harvest could be lost. Water stops flowing, the fields crack and dry out, and crops wither under the sun. That's why specialized canal dredging machines were created, like steel arms ensuring that the agricultural bloodstream remains open and flowing. Among hundreds of designs today, the most common and efficient are hydraulic arm dredging machines mounted on tractors. With a flexible boom that can swivel 180 degrees, the rotating drum at the end scoops, stirs, and lifts mud from the canal bed while trimming weeds along the banks. Some advanced models from Hemos, Netherlands, and Greentech, Denmark, even feature pressure sensors and automatic leveling systems, allowing precise operation in narrow trenches. In countries like the Netherlands and Germany, large-scale versions equipped with giant rake buckets attached to hydraulic cranes are also popular. Dozens of curved steel tines work like a massive comb, scraping away sludge and debris without damaging the canal walls, keeping the water clean and free-flowing. Thanks to mechanical power, just a few hours of work by one of these machines can replace an entire day's labor by dozens of workers, restoring clogged waterways and helping the fields breathe again with the rhythm of the growing season. In fruit orchards growing mangoes, avocados, or longans across Europe and Latin America, Greentech circular disc pruners are considered an ideal solution for small and medium-scale farms. Equipped with multiple high-speed rotating steel saw blades, these systems precisely trim each canopy layer, allowing light and air to circulate freely between branches. The result is well-balanced tree growth, evenly ripened fruit, and a significant reduction in pests, something that manual pruning can hardly achieve. But for large-scale plantations in the United States, Brazil, or Australia, where each orchard row stretches for hundreds of meters, farmers prefer horizontal fan blade trimmers. Their wide cutting structure and blade speeds exceeding 2,000 rotations per minute enable the machine to trim both sides and the top of the canopy in a single pass. Compared to the disc-type models, which focus on precision, the fan blade trimmers excel in speed, productivity, and wide area coverage, making them the perfect fit for intensive farming regions where every minute of operation holds high economic value. Soaring over endless green cornfields across Iowa, Nebraska, and Kansas, the air tractor and thrush aircraft, the steel wings of American agriculture, have lifted the entire industry to new heights, where the sky itself becomes an extension of the farmer's hand. Flying just 3 to 5 meters above the ground, these planes precisely spray GPS-guided ribbons of pesticides and fertilizers, covering more than 16 million hectares of corn each year, with near-perfect uniformity. Inside the cockpit, a high-pressure spraying system works in harmony with sensors measuring wind, humidity, and flight speed, automatically adjusting the flow rate in real time to ensure every drop lands exactly where it's needed. No more, no less. With performance tens of times greater than ground-based spraying methods, these reapers of the sky have become a symbol of peak mechanization in 21st century agriculture. Yet alongside their extraordinary efficiency come debates that never fade. Drifting chemicals carried by the wind, high operational costs, risks to pilots, and the long-term environmental impact that continues to challenge even the most advanced form of aerial farming. Before the arrival of liquid manure spreaders like GEA, Noon, or Husky, applying organic fertilizer used to be one of the toughest and most dreaded tasks for farmers. Today, technology has completely transformed that picture. From manure pits more than 10 meters deep beneath livestock farms, high-capacity pumps draw the liquid fertilizer through high-pressure pipelines and send it straight into the machine's massive storage tank, with a capacity of up to 50,000 liters. In traditional centrifugal spreading systems, a hydraulic pump drives a fan rotating at 2,000 revolutions per minute, creating a powerful spray that covers up to 25 meters in width, ideal for dry fields and flat terrain. This mechanism is simple and fast, but still suffers from significant nutrient loss due to evaporation. Meanwhile, modern subsurface spreading systems use an 18-meter distribution arm that injects the fertilizer directly into the soil, delivering nutrients straight to the root zone. This innovation virtually eliminates nutrient loss, reduces odor, and maximizes absorption efficiency, a breakthrough now widely adopted across Europe, North America, and New Zealand. In just a few hours, one machine can cover more than 50 hectares of land, saving up to 90% of the time compared to traditional methods. With 4 massive steel claws capable of digging more than 2 meters deep and gripping root balls weighing several tons, these large-scale tree spades have turned the once daunting task of uprooting and replanting trees into a remarkably simple operation, achieving survival rates of over 98%. When the hydraulic steel blades simultaneously pierce the ground, they carve out a perfect conical root ball, preserving the soil's microstructure and the tree's natural moisture balance. Moments later, the machine gently lifts the entire tree and its root ball, rotates it to align with its original sun orientation, and lowers it into a newly prepared planting hole. Thanks to a synchronized system of pressure sensors, precise hydraulics, and a high-strength steel frame, the entire process, uprooting, transporting, and replanting, takes only a few minutes. This replaces the work of dozens of manual laborers and crude equipment, making the tree spade a true savior for urban forestry projects, parks, and the relocation of old, mature trees. Amid vast vineyards in California, France, and Italy, especially in spring and early summer when mold and mealybugs spread rapidly, air blast sprayers glide tirelessly between the rows. Equipped with 1,000 to 3,000 liter tanks and powerful rear fans, they turn pesticide solutions into a fine mist that penetrates deep between the leaves, coating both sides of the grape canopy, something manual spraying can hardly achieve. In modern models like the Twister S6, sensors and GPS automatically adjust pressure, airflow, and spray rate based on canopy density, reducing chemical loss by up to 40% and saving thousands of liters of solution each season. In just a few hours, a single air blast sprayer can cover dozens of hectares, becoming the indispensable steel assistant of modern vineyards. Automated weeding machines powered by cameras and artificial intelligence are transforming the way Americans care for fields of lettuce, spinach, and kale. Equipped with high-resolution cameras that constantly scan the ground, the AI can distinguish each crop and weed with centimeter-level precision. Once a weed is detected, hydraulic blades swiftly extend and cut around the base of the crop without harming its delicate leaves. All operations are synchronized through GPS and speed sensors, allowing the machine to adjust automatically to terrain and plant density. In just a few hours, dozens of hectares can be completely weed-free without any human labor. However, with a price tag of $350,000 to $500,000, these robot farmers remain a luxury dream for many small farms. In May, across the green tea hills of Shizuoka, Japan's tea capital, machines begin stretching black nets over rows of young tea plants. During 10 to 30 days of this shading period, sunlight is partially blocked, allowing the leaves to retain L-theanine and chlorophyll, the secret behind the jade green color and signature umami flavor of premium sencha, kabusecha, and matcha. When the shading ends, Valiant or Maruyama harvesters glide gently along the rows, trimming a layer of tender shoots just a few millimeters thick. Built-in fans and conveyors collect the leaves into mesh bags, while GPS sensors automatically adjust cutting height and speed to capture only the finest parts. In just a few days, technology and tradition unite to create Shizuoka's perfectly timed tea season, where every leaf preserves the pure umami essence of the earth and sky. In Germany, the United States, and the Czech Republic, the world's great beer workshops, the once labor-intensive harvest, which used to require hundreds of workers climbing trellises to cut vines by hand, has now been transformed by massive hop harvesting machines operating with near-perfect precision. From a cabin level with the canopy, the operator grips the hop vine, cuts it from the trellis, and feeds it directly onto a conveyor belt. Inside, hundreds of rotating metal fingers swiftly strip the cones from leaves and stems, blowing the waste aside while the heavy, oil-rich hop cones drop neatly into collection bins. Each machine can process over 1 hectare of hops per hour, the equivalent of about 150 human workers. In an industry producing more than 190 billion liters of beer annually and consuming hundreds of thousands of tons of hops, these harvesters are more than just machines. They are the backbone of the beer world, where steel and engineering keep the flavor of humanity endlessly flowing. The journey from tiny seed to supermarket shelf involves an intricate process, with harvesting being one of the most critical stages. The onion's journey begins in the fields. After months of care and growth, the onions signal they're ready for harvest. How do farmers know? The tops of the onions, those long green stalks, begin to yellow and fall over. This is the plant's way of saying, "I'm done growing, pick me." Timing is crucial. Farmers need to act quickly but carefully to ensure the onions are at their best. Too early, and the onions may not store well. Too late, and the risk of rot or pests increases. In the good old days, onion harvesting was labor-intensive. Workers armed with hoes and shovels would dig up the onions by hand. While this method ensured minimal damage to the onions, it was back-breaking work, and it took a lot of time. Fortunately, technology has revolutionized the process, making it faster, more efficient, and less physically demanding. Today, American farmers use cutting-edge machinery to harvest onions. These machines are a marvel of engineering, designed to handle the task with precision and care. Here's a closer look at the stars of the show. Onion windrowers. Windrowers are the first machines to hit the fields during the harvest. These mechanical marvels loosen the soil around the onions and gently lift them out of the ground. The onions are then laid in neat rows, called windrows, on top of the soil. This setup allows the onions to cure in the sun, drying out their outer layers and preparing them for storage. Windrowers are designed to minimize damage to the onions. They use adjustable blades to cut through the soil, ensuring a smooth lift without bruising the bulbs. After a few days of curing, it's time for the onions to be collected. Enter the onion harvester, a machine specifically designed for this task. These harvesters scoop up the windrows, separating the onions from any remaining soil and debris. The onions travel up a conveyor belt, where they're cleaned and sorted. The harvester gently removes dirt and loose skins, leaving behind a shiny, healthy crop. Depending on the size of the operation, some harvesters even have built-in grading systems, sorting onions by size right in the field. Tractors and trailers. Once harvested, the onions are loaded onto trailers pulled by tractors. These trailers transport the onions to storage facilities or directly to processing plants. The process is seamless, ensuring the onions remain fresh and intact throughout the journey. The use of modern machinery in onion harvesting offers numerous benefits, transforming what was once a labor-intensive process into a highly efficient operation. Machines like onion windrowers and harvesters streamline the harvesting process by quickly lifting onions from the soil, cleaning them, and sorting them by size and quality. This reduces the need for manual labor, saving time and cutting costs for farmers. Additionally, these machines are designed to handle onions gently, minimizing damage and ensuring a higher percentage of the crop is market-ready. Technology also improves consistency, as machines can work tirelessly and precisely, regardless of weather conditions. Tractors and trailers further enhance efficiency by transporting large quantities of onions from the field to storage or processing facilities quickly. Overall, the use of advanced machinery increases productivity, reduces waste, and helps farmers meet the growing demand for onions while maintaining high quality.